This is Cindy
Rosita.
and it is February 29th, 2024, and it's Leap Day. Today, we're dedicating this recording to my sweet brother who passed away 7 months ago. And we are out at Trader Joe's, and Trader Joe's was one of the places that I got my brother hooked on. I would often call him and he'd call me like, sis, what do you need from the store? And I'm like, well, from Trader Joe's. We are needing, or I'm craving, or after watching a Trader Joe's haul, I would say, this new item is out. Can you please go get it? The one that I think started the whole thing, or like caught his interest, was around November of 2022. These these potatoes or potato chips, and they're flavored like stuffing that you put in a turkey. And I said, hey, I'm like waiting for these chips to come out, and they should be here soon. And so I'd watch the haul or give the store a call. And finally arrived because I was curious to taste them. And he went out, got some, we tried them out, and we're like, meh, it was all right. So after that, he got curious and visited Trader Joe's often. So the one that I'm at, or that me and my mom are at, was the last Trader Joe's he visited here in this city. We dedicate today's recording to you, my sweet brother, wherever you are at right now. And if you're in this car with us, amen. So, today's recording is it's dedicated to a movie we saw. It's called Bleeding Love, and the song is Seabird. And we're gonna dissect this movie and these lyrics because I think they were pretty powerful, right, Mom? So we'll start with the movie. The movie stars Ewan McGregor and his daughter, I hope I get it correctly, Clara McGregor. And she helped produce and contribute to some of the writing to this film. And of course, the father, has been in Star Wars movies and other independent films. But Bleeding Love, let's dissect this movie. A relationship between a father and a daughter on a road trip, seeking some healing, getting some redemption, and finding their way back to each other. So any thoughts, Mom, on the movie we saw, I think it was 2 weeks ago?
Not right now, but I do really like the way they it was not easy for them to get to understand each other, but what I saw is that the father had a lot of patience on her daughter.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Do you think that the father, to arrive to the point where he had patience for the daughter, do you think he had a journey of his own? In order to obtain that patience, he went through something in order to get to where he was at with his daughter and accept the place that she was in and aim to get her the help she needed?
I think so. I think so. Because it doesn't show that he had what kind of treatment that he had or anything.
It didn't talk about his treatment,
No,
but it does suggest that it's possibly he had some challenges with alcohol, right? That's
yes,
what it shows. And the flashbacks of the film really show a sweet relationship between daughter and father, right? That was very apparent. And I think what stood out to me between the flashbacks of the young father and the young daughter to the present, what stood out to me is and I'm going to connect two movies. I saw a movie back in 2021, Ulysses and Flora, I think. It's about a squirrel and a girl, and but one of the things that is talked about in that film, it's mentioned that because the father and mother in that film were having relational issues, and they were separated. When the father finally sits down with the neighbor, they're talking about relationships. And the neighbor shares her wisdom about relationships in relation to her own marriage. And one of the things she mentions is when a person pushes away, or a person pushes you away, that's the moment that you turn back and not walk away. Because the more they push away, the more they're insinuating that they are needing you. There's some hurt in them, but that hurt is causing them to push everybody else around them. And that to me was poignant or important, because like oftentimes when people push us away, whether it's attitude, whether it's them being angry or just anything, we want to walk away from that because it hurts us. But she says that's the moment you just turn back and you reach forward to them. So there was a couple movies in the movie Bleeding Love where, I don't know if you noticed, the daughter, or one of them, was when they arrived to the hotel or the motel, and she's in the pool and she says, "You want to come in?" And and he says, "No, I'm going in the room." But she was sort of, that look in her face like, could he have just joined me here? So the moment that he jumps into the pool with her, like my heart just sort of was able to breathe again, because that's what she was looking for. And I think that really connected them. And so you see it when they go back to the room and they're ready and wanting to get their treats and just want to sit down and get ready for bed. And then he's taking a little too long coming back, right? So she's getting restless and she's looking around. And then there was another part of the movie where she finally makes it to the destination that he was wanting to take her. And she's debating about staying there because she's used to running away all the time. So if you remember, she goes in and all of a sudden she runs back out. But the father is standing. Oh, that's so teary-eyed. Mm-hmm. So the father is standing there and her like face just smiles and lights up. So to me, those moments were very important to me because they deal with the issues of abandonment. They deal with people leaving you, and then you hoping, like, you really don't want people to leave you, right? There's some people that you need for them to leave your lives, but there's, for the majority, the people that you don't want to leave, and all you're waiting for is for them to come back. And it could be loss, as in with death. It could be somebody just moving away, walking away from you and not looking back. It could be that they leave forever. They could be that they leave for a week. They could leave for months. But it just, your exit makes a difference, right? It's the how they leave also makes a difference in the impact. So to me, that's what really stood out in the movie, the bond between father and daughter, the way this bond is broken, how they find a way back to each other. But when a bond is broken, means your trust is broken, and finding your way back to one another has its challenges, because all that residue of the hurt, the pain, the abandonment stays with you, right? And I don't know, I spoke a lot, Mom. I don't know if it's sort of that makes you recall some of these instances in the movie. I don't know.
What stood up for me too is the patience that he had for her. Like, for example, when he went with that guy, and also when she ran away, and then she ended up with this couple, and they started doing drugs, and when she called, I mean, her father, I mean, he was happy, and he went and get her, and he was not like how you call it?
Reprimanding her or yelling at her.
Yes, not yelling at her, but it was helping her, like to get better,
Mm-hmm. Why do you think he offered her or was able to give her that patience?
I think the first thing is that also he loved her, and he loved her because also he had those flashbacks she was little, and the only thing that you can see when the moments that he gave her, it was happy moments at that time. And I think also he had to have some. It doesn't mention because it mentioned in the movie, but what he went through in order to get at the point that he is.
Mm-hmm. So he had a journey.
Yes.
He had a story, and their stories intertwine. What he went through as a young dad and what she was going through as a young adult were similar. They were two hurt souls who found an escape through substances that maybe they thought were healing them, numbing them, but in reality, it was causing them to just break down even more. They got lost, and you mentioned that the dad had patience. That patience sometimes can come from deep love, and that patience sometimes can come from mutual understanding of what another person is going through. That patience can also come from just unconditional love. That patience can come from tough love. But at the end of the day, that patience, I think, is similar to being able, or it allows you to offer grace. So I think his power was not saying nothing. I think the power of the father, in addition to the patience, was not saying too much. Like he never really yelled at her.
No.
He never really gave her a lecture. He was just waiting patiently and trying to get him.
Oh, you did it again. Mm-hmm. No, he was just.
Because he went through it too,
mm-hmm.
And maybe part of him going through it too, there most likely I can imagine he had guilt. How could I be upset at her? How can I lecture her when I myself made those choices? But what was important though was the goal. I want to get her help, and I want her to be okay. And I'm curious, when she finally was willing to accept the help that he wanted to get her, she found his journal. And I don't know how much time he had to, or she had, I don't know how much time she had to read what was said, but in just a few pages that they show in the movie and what she read, something in her clicked, because that was like the pushing factor to move her towards going to the recovery center. Did you notice that?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
So words are powerful.
Yes. Uh-huh.
So sometimes when we run away from the people we love, we need them to turn back. And we need to know how much we are loved by them.
Mm-hmm.
That's very important, and it's hard on both parties. It's hard for the person who is having their struggles and is running away to see that the people who are trying to help love them, and the people who are loving those you want to care for and take care of and want to make sure they're okay. It's a very painful situation. but the power of grace and patience and redemption at the end of this trying time leads to just some goodness.
You know what movie brought me back? It's about those the couple also. Remember she had always bad relationships, and they met at I think at the wedding. But he didn't tell her that she has a daughter.
Oh, yeah.
And then what he got me, that him, you can see the love for her. It was a daughter too, huh?
Mm-hmm.
And then he started, with the I love. No,
I love you, I love you, I love you,
love
I
you,
love you, I love you, I love you.
love you.
Yeah, the movie was, I believe, which brings me back to you.
Oh yes.
Yeah,
that remind me also. I mean, not but them, because
yeah, the relationships with between father and daughter are very tender, because the saying is your daddy's girl, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you look up to your father as your protector. You look up to your father as the person who's going to offer you and love you, offer you the most utmost respect, and love you unconditionally, and make all the scary things go away. And so when a daughter relinquishes herself to a father in that way, it's sort of like when you are I think about I don't know, I was going to use the words trampoline, but acrobats. If you've ever been to the circus, there's these acrobats that hang on a wire, and they're swinging back and forth,
mm-hmm.
right? And I think about this because I think about a show that I used to watch back in the day called S in the City. And so she's on this, I don't even know, let's call it a swing. And so you're strapped in and you're swinging back and forth, and you're supposed to release yourself with your hands and catch a person
mm-hmm.
on the other side. And there's a lot of trust entailed in this, right?
Mm-hmm.
And even if you're strapped in, and if you're not able to get the other person's hands, there's always like something at the bottom is going to break your fall. But I think about the relationships between daughters and fathers. You love them so much, you feel like they are this protector, and you just let go, right? You put yourselves in their hands, and I can imagine the same is between mothers. I don't know, I want to say maybe between mothers and daughters it's the same, or between any parent and child, but I guess I'm talking between father and daughters because of this movie and just my experience with my own father. You just gotta be tender with that, because if somebody in any relationships, if someone just lets go and entrusts in somebody else, and that trust is broken, it's just a spiral effect sometimes of not so good things, right?
Right.
Sometimes you stop learning, you stop wanting to love. Sometimes you put up walls. Sometimes you make decisions you shouldn't be, to just sort of self-medicate, and that self-medicating can be in different ways: overworking, shopping too much. But my point to that is, relationships are tender and important when there's two people involved, or it's a family unit, and we just have to be mindful souls. And how are we mindful souls to one another? How is it that we can avoid brokenness?
I think the main thing in this is to keep focus and continue to be on God's words, because I don't see no other way. I don't see no other way, but that you have to do that, because he give you the peace that we need, and when you have that peace, you're able to understand also other people.
Amen. I have a question for you. How was your relationship with your father as a young girl?
You just, like, you read my mind. It was great. I remember him always, like, he was always protecting us. I used to help him on the field. I was like a little boy, and that at that time was my sister also, and my other sister too. We went and helped him on the field, and we have a hailstorm. And what he did, he got a cape, and he protected us, both of us, with the cape. And then someone called him, and then, come on over here. But he was there protecting us, and I didn't feel no fear. It was only men, and only the two of us girls in there with my father. And also at the time on eating time, he always made sure that we have our food first. My mom used to say, "Here's to him." I said, "No, first my daughters." So that is, you just read my mind. I mean, because I had it over here. How you trust your father, like, as a figure in your life, that you feel safe around him.
Yeah. To me, when I think about my father, I think about this picture where he's wearing his overalls from work. I think it was from the Olympic fastening system.
Oh, yes.
And he is carrying me up in the air.
Yes.
Well, I think we were at a park.
Yes.
And then I think about the one where I'm standing by his side. He's looking down at me, and he's next to this, like, his white Mustang at the time.
Oh, yes.
And I look at those pictures, and I'm like, I was Daddy's girl. Like, I looked up to him.
Yes.
I trusted in him, and just waited for those happy whatever adventures that were going to be going on. I do also remember times where there's one specific time. It was the four of us, me, you, and my brother, and my dad, and he just took us in the car and was driving us to, like, a movie, not a movie theater, a drive-in. But we've got lost, and we never made it all the way. And I remember that's when we picked up those Martinelli apple juices that came in the glass bottle shaped like a apple.
Oh, yes.
So I have fond memories of us as small kids, and I know that my story with my dad took a different turn over time. But what I'm grateful is, just like the film, and the film doesn't show the end of, after she's at her treatment center and do the father and daughter reunite, and I was in a treatment center. I'm not relating in that way, but what I'm trying to say, the relatable part is just a relationship between a daughter and dad who were very bonded in the beginning. Rough patches, along the years, caused them to distance from one another. And with my father, we were distant, and the thing that I have unraveled in the last couple of weeks, because I explored abandonment, is that my dad was a runner, and he was a runner, like he ran marathons, but he was a runner. Like he was always just trying to run from something, and and I always thought that my brother was the runner and my dad was a runner, but then I sat back and I'm like, Cynthia, you were also a runner. The only one that was a little still was yourself. And anyways, I say that because my father, my brother, and myself have had some interesting journeys, but we found ourselves back to one another. And what I reached with my dad in our last years together, I think I am very grateful for, and was only provided to me because of the Lord. Because when I started my walk with the Lord and reading the Bible and just getting back to church, and I had to explore forgiveness, and I had to sort of just strip all that was going on, or that I was facing, dealing with. But it didn't even stop there, Mom. It wasn't just forgiveness. It was just, when you lose trust, you build walls. Mm-hmm. And I had to start just bringing my walls down too with my dad. And he's not the sole cause of my walls. It's just how we're built sometimes, how we program because of things that happen, and the way our body reacts to it. It's just a way it arms itself to protect. Is what I'm learning too through therapy, right? And I'm very grateful just for how we were in our last years, and I've longed for more time. I want more time, but we can't turn back time, unfortunately. But I am so just grateful for the time that I had with him. Just yesterday, my brother and my father are on my mind often, every day. And yesterday I sat in the car before leaving work, and I had an orange, and I said, I'm gonna peel this orange and see if it makes my stomach feel better. Mm-hmm. And as I'm peeling the orange, whether it was the orange itself or the smell of the orange, I was like transported back to when he's all, hija, you need to try this. It's so good. It's so good, hija. Just try this orange. It's good for you. Here. But then I look at his naranja, and it's all filled up with tahini. Oh, yeah, yes. It's good with tahini. Yes. Yeah, it is. But it also reminded me how he would come home when we were little, and even when we lived in Long Beach, with the bags of oranges that they would sell off the freeways, and the bag of the peanuts. Oh, yeah. But I heard his voice like so clear, and it's, I'm happy that we found each other again, and I'm just really realizing a lot more. People don't run away on purpose. People don't choose to make life choices that hurts himself and others on purpose. Everyone carries a story, and it's all very cyclical, and from, we could say that the father in this story had some hurt. That hurt, the daughter, from the hurt she got from the father, she went down a path. So the cycle could be she gets married, has children, and that hurt is transported over to her children, right? So it's all cyclical. But the choice has to be made is, at what point do we just say enough is enough, right? And it's not easy, because that residue of the pain, the hurt, the abandonment, the distress, it sits in us, and it builds our character. It builds our mind, body, and soul to be able to protect itself based on what you went through. But it takes a lot of energy, which I feel is worth investing to reprogram yourself. Right? You understand what I'm saying by that?
Definitely. definitely. There's no other way.
And like you said, through the strength of our Lord, right? I can
Yes.
do all things through God who strengthens me. And what does He provide us here on this earthly home? He provides us family, counselors, therapists, wellness, meditation, connecting with nature. I mean, he provides us a tool here while on earth to, find ourselves back to us. Because if you think of that little girl with your dad, if you can see you, right?
Mm-hmm.
At that point in time, there was no pain, no hurt, right?
No.
You were feeling there was joy. Then the chapters begin to unravel over time, and then things get compounded one on top of the other. And sometimes we just gotta take a step back and know it's not all just happening to me. It's happening to everyone, because we're a broken world. But it's a beautiful broken world, if I might say, right? So.
Well, actually, it's not a broken world. We just broken souls in the world.
Mm-hmm. Broken souls.
Broken souls in the world.
And what would you say to the broken souls?
My broken soul. I just wanna, my soul, I give it to the Lord, because as a human nature, I don't see any point in it. I can see the beauty with Him. I can see the beauty and everything, like in the flower and the plant, and just the gift that I have, that I have you.
Mm-hmm.
That's a gift. And I just want to treasure. I want to treasure that. So I you cannot deny there's a lot of things in the world, but people do in this world, because they're broken. But we had to think why, and hope that they get help.
Mm-hmm. And on that note, I want to say, thank you so much for loving, my brother and fathers unconditionally. You were their lifeboat, their lifesaver, their rock. And the strength that you got to be able to love them unconditionally, came from your faith. And I admire and I respect and I love, my brother and father for who they are, who they became, where they were heading. With my brother, the strength he had to wake up each morning, put one foot in front of the other, and make mistakes, and learn and want to grow from those mistakes, to accept his mistakes, to think about how am I going to make things different? How am I things going to be better? How can I move forward? He never stopped wanting to try, and his heart was so tender and loving. What he wanted was just love and to be cared for and peace. And with my father, no matter what, he always strived to still educate us, teach us, because he's always giving his facts about one thing or another and his opinion.
Yes.
And he always just well-intended. And that's what we got to see. No matter how broken we are and how broken we appear to other people, and people have opinions of us, at the end of the day, like you said, we're broken souls. who are just wanting to be cared for and loved and respected and nurtured. And it's like we all just want a warm hug every day. We want to be seen. We don't want to be we don't want to be invisible. And I miss my brother and my father, and I imagine that they are just in a heavenly place. I want more time with them, but I always have to reframe my thinking and say I am blessed for the time I had with them, and I am grateful for the patience that they had for me, because I too am a broken soul, and I'm glad that they love me unconditionally as well.
They did. Your brother, he looked up to you so much.
So as we close out, this film was based on a song called Bleeding Love, and highly recommended. I hope we didn't give too many spoilers, and you gotta watch it just to get your interpretation of it and just connect with it. But it had a song called Seabird, and I've read the lyrics out loud, but it, again, with what we're talking about, broken souls. Let's reach forward and especially with our loved ones, our family. If someone's pushing you away, just turn back and look for them. Don't walk away. It's a hard battle, but just strive for that. And the song Seabird is sort of on the note of just wanting someone to return back. And it goes, Seabird, seabird, fly home. Like a lonely seabird, you've been away from land too long. Suddenly you're with me, I turn and you're not there. Like a ghost you haunt me, you find warmth in a one-night bed. Sunsets, full moons don't turn you on. Like an untied dog, you just had to run. Like a lonely seabird, you've been away from land too long. Oh, too long. So that's just a song crying out for someone to just come back home.
Yes.
So, Dad and brother, if you can hear us, see us, we love you.
I know that you and your white robe, mijo, and your father, I don't see, but I can see that he's with you, and you are with him. But I can see you smile, and with your white robe, mi amor, then that's a big sign, okay? Praise the Lord. Give thanks to the Lord, for He is good. His love endures forever. Who can proclaim the mighty act that the Lord, or fully declare His praise? Blessed are they who maintain justice, who constantly do what is right. Remember me, O Lord, when you show your favor. People, come to my aid when you save them, that I may enjoy the prosperity of your chosen ones, that I may share in the joy of your nations, enjoying your inheritance and giving praise.
And what psalm is that?
That's Psalms 106 from 1 to 5.
Right. Well, thank you for listening. It was a long one. We haven't been able to do this because of the weather, and we've been fatigued, but we really enjoy these times. Have a blessed evening. Or day if you are listening to this in the day. Bye.